So the big question is this: how do small business owners like us grow our leadership, develop our teams, and scale our business in a way that allows us to get our products and services out to the world, yet still remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. I'm Bradley Hamner, and this is the Club Capital Leadership Podcast. Welcome to The Bottom Line, a new weekly podcast series that we drop every Thursday to complement our weekly Monday podcast interviews with the industry leaders. These podcasts are going to be designed to give you short, impactful, and value-driven information that you can start using right away in your business. I value your time and attention and will do my very best not to waste it. Just get what you need and go. So with that, let's get into today's episode. Are you an agency owner looking to grow your revenue, increase your bottom line, and better manage your taxes? Club Capital is here to help. Club Capital is the largest accounting and advisory firm for insurance agents in the country, providing monthly accounting, tax strategy, and CFO services. Way more than bookkeeping and your everyday run-of-the-mill tax prep, Club Capital is focused on providing financial and tax advisory services that help you plan and forecast your agency's performance. Their financial dashboards and agency forecasting tools help you better understand your agency's historical performance, create and measure future targets, and see how your agency compares to your peers around the country. Imagine what it would be like to understand the impact to your bottom line when deciding to hire a new employee, or forecast the impact rate changes or commission rates will have on your business. With over $200 million in tracked annual revenue and $140 million in tracked annual expenses, Club Capital has the data and the team to help you make better informed decisions for your agency. They will help you turn that back office stress into the backbone of your agency's success by giving you the tools to take your agency and your leadership to the next level. Visit club.capital today to book a solution overview with one of our business consultants. Club Capital, way more than a CPA firm. Ambition is the first step towards success. It's time to level up your agency. And Coach P Consulting will help you do just that by using the same strategies he used to sell over 700 life insurance policies in 2021 alone. Now, this is not your regular one and done type coaching. You'll get personalized coaching 2 days a week, every week of the month, and you'll get a live look behind the scenes of his team training and an office that's performing at the highest level. There's a reason Coach P Consulting is the fastest growing coaching company for insurance agency owners in the country. Coach P will train your team alongside his own and show you the exact steps they're taking to achieve Chairman Circle, exotic travel, and multi-line presence club, and be one of the few agents to be selected to have a third office. So whether your goal is to be at the top of your local market or amongst the best in the country, this training will give you the strategies and the tactics to get there. For just $250 a month, you'll get high-level coaching each week from someone who is already getting it done at that level, and his strategies work, and it's time to put them to work for you. Sign up at CoachPConsulting.com and get your first full month for free when you mention the Club Capital Leadership Podcast. Hey, everyone. So this past week, we had a little bit of a struggle. Honestly, we had some mistakes that were happening with certain things. And, a lot of times you won't necessarily... if you listen to other podcasts, go on social media, et cetera, people are going to tell you all the successes and all the wonderful things, but sometimes they don't actually give you behind the scenes of what happens whenever, the crap doesn't go the way that you want it to. And so I shared this with my EA and thought I would share it with all of you, and actually ended up sharing it with some of our clients. And so it's this analogy of keeping lug nuts tight versus tightening lug nuts. And so let's just imagine for a second, you're the race car driver and you race Formula One. That's obviously popular on Netflix right now, or it has been. And you're going around Brickyard, and your business is the Formula One car itself. And you go around the Brickyard and you notice that the wheels are getting wobbly, and you realize that, hey, we got some lug nuts that are not tight. So you go around and you go in on the mic and you tell your team, hey, I'm going to pull into the pit stop and you guys are going to need to tighten these lug nuts. And so they do. So they tighten the lug nuts, and then you take off and you begin to catch up, go around one more lap, and you realize, oh, I got another wheel that's wobbly, and you have to pull into the pit stop. You get the analogy, right? So ultimately, that's kind of like trying to get the business to go faster, to be able to hit the goals or the targets that you have set, but you're constantly having to tighten lug nuts versus
what are the things that we can do to keep lug nuts tight? Now, I have become and did become a very operating system, playbooks, systems and processes person. I don't really use that language, but it's not how I was over a period of time. In fact, I was, and still am to this day, pretty entrepreneurial ADD in the way that that I approach things. And it's actually through creating an operating system with a structured way to create playbooks and fit those assets into the operating system that was the big unlock for me personally. Now, this past week, you may say, well, didn't you mention that it's actually been a really challenging week? It has. We had a number of mistakes that were made, and some of them were small things, but the wrong time went out on an email. It was supposed to be 9 and it went out at 8. And then there was just other certain things. An email didn't go out in some cases. And so everybody is going to say, well, you just got to have systems and processes. Well, to a certain degree, that is true. And I absolutely think that systems and playbooks are wonderful for creating consistency, but they don't necessarily always result in excellence. So what is it that keeps problems fixed? What is the thing that keeps lug nuts tight so we're not going around the track one time, constantly having to tighten the lug nuts? Well, it's expectations, it's accountability, and then ultimately, it really does come down to culture. Now, some of you may be saying, well, I mean, gosh, well, that's profound, but it really is about a certain level of expectations. And I would even point specifically to core values. And we have a core, one of our core 4 is first-class experience. And you begin to point to and say, this performance, these mistakes do not live up to the first-class experience. And sometimes core values become kind of maddening because you say, man, I've set this expectation, these standards of how things need to be, and we're not living up to it. Ultimately, I think the first place to start is, do you have a playbook? Do you have a specific system that's documented in a playbook that says this is how this should go? And a lot of times, a lot of business owners do not have that. In this particular case, we did. It was just not being adhered to. So it wasn't the fact that there wasn't a structure, that there wasn't a system that was documented in a playbook of what certain things should be, what the weekly workflow would be. But actually, it was just not execution on it. And so it's the culture and the expectations and the standards that you lay out to say, these are the standards that we have. It's not good enough. And it then ultimately comes down into coaching conversations about, what mistakes happened there. Did I not give a long enough time frame? There was a couple of them that I say, hey, that was a quick turnaround. That was a tight turnaround for the team. And so, I'll personally will accept responsibilities for that. But in some cases, they were just whiffs. They were misses. And so you have that conversation, you tie it right back to the expectations, the standards that you have set, and the core values, the one specifically of it being a first-class experience. That's one of the core 4 that we have. But it has been helpful for me over the past week. Now, I don't know when this episode is going to drop. I'm recording this second week of July. But it has been really helpful for me to think, wait a minute, we are tightening lug nuts. We're constantly saying, oh, okay, I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. That word was actually being used. I'll take care of it. You heard that before? And so we're going to go tighten that lug nut. We're going to go fix that email. We're going to make sure that goes out on time, that the trains leave on time, that all the planes take off and land on time, et cetera. Versus, what are the things that we need to do? Is there a system or a process or a playbook that's missing to make sure ultimately that the lug nuts stay tight versus constantly having to tighten the lug nuts? That has been very helpful for me over the past week as a thinking time exercise. As a matter of fact, I actually did a thinking time exercise and saying, what do I need to have in place? Is there a playbook missing? But if there's not a playbook, is there a conversation that needs to be had so that we can keep lug nuts tight instead of constantly tightening lug nuts? Hope that served you. See ya.